Good morning, Flosstube. It is Saturday, March 8th, and it's a glorious sunny day outside, and I thought it is time to show you my finishes of 2024. And yes, I know it's already 2 months and a couple of days into 2025, but this video has been in my head for quite some time, and it just never worked out during the week to do the video. So I thought I'd better take advantage of the fact that I'm not at the Nashville market this year and record the video. It feels kind of weird to be here back home while market is going on. I do miss meeting all the people. I think that's most what I miss. I mean, it's lovely to get all the new stuff and the charts and the fabric and the threads, but those are coming my way anyways, thanks to a lovely lady who offered to pick up my orders and ship them to me. And market, I think, is all about the personal connections with people, talking with other shop owners, with the designers, with, you know, the people that dye the fabrics or the threads. It just gives you such an energy boost when you come back. However, while I'm doing better and things are looking up much better from December and January, my energy levels are nowhere near 100%. Every now and then I still suffer from like acute fatigue, and somebody else explained it to me and said it's like when you fill a bathtub and you just pull the plug and you just see all the water disappear. That's basically what happens. Within 5 minutes, I'm completely drained of pretty much all of my energy and really need to rest. The good news is these episodes are more far in between, and it doesn't take me as long anymore as to recover. But if I really push my boundaries, it still takes me 2 days to get over it. So I try not to get there. And market would really have been something that would have been pushing the limits way too far. So I'm going to concentrate on my recovery, getting better, feeling more energetic, and then there's always market next year. So while market is going on, I thought I would record a video of all my finishes in 2024. Now, I expected when I got diagnosed with breast cancer, I thought, well, I should have more time now to stitch. That was completely off. And if you've been through a similar journey or suffer from another kind of disease, you probably realize this way better than I did. But all the hospital appointments, all the treatments, everything just takes more energy than you think it does. And I had evenings where I didn't stitch at all because I was just too tired. However, I did manage. I'm pulling up my notes. So if you see me glancing down, I'm looking at my iPad that has all the notes of the finished pieces that I did. I've managed to finish 31 pieces, which for me is quite a lot, actually. Now, you all know I'm not a person that stitches like the big samplers. I do small pieces, and I'm completely okay with that. But I'm very proud to say that one of my biggest pieces that I ever started, and one of the pieces I've been stitching on for years, American Homes, is finished. Let me show it to you. This is the finished piece. It is stitched on 36 count Edinburgh linen antique white with all the called for silk threads. It was a joy to stitch. I really enjoyed it. It's a lot of stitching. Those blocks that you fill in completely are 4,800 stitches in themselves. And as you can see, there's quite a few houses, which we all know take up a lot of stitching. But I think in December, sometime in December, I finished the whole piece. Now, one thing I did that is not on the chart, you can see it over here. This house had a white outlining. Well, it's like a cream colored off-white that is around the roof and the house, and I thought you couldn't really see it well enough on this fabric, so I did a back stitch around it with, I think, one of the lightest colors. I think actually this kind of beige color, so that it would have a little bit more definition. I also did that, let me check, I thought I did it somewhere else as well. Oh yes, over here. This little wall I also changed and added the back stitches. Now, this piece will always be for me a very, very dear memory. I think I worked on this for probably about 4 or 5 years maybe. I would have to check. But I did the final 4 houses, which was this side of the sampler, so on the left, in 2024. And I can tell you that when I was stitching after my diagnosis and while being in treatment, there are some parts of the sampler that are totally designed by me and not by Historische Stickmuster, because I made mistakes, I didn't always want a frog, and I fudged it. As Jean Lee would say, going forward, not backward. And I honestly think if you don't know where it is, you wouldn't be able to see it. So I'm perfectly fine with this. I'm going to press it, and then I'm going to send it off to the framer. Once it's back from the framer, you'll see it again, because I'm just really proud of this. It's, like I said, I usually stitch small pieces. This has been in the work for years, and it felt really good to dedicate a lot of time in 2024 to get it done. And now that it's done, it feels like I've accomplished a huge task. So that was one of my finishes. Now, my finishes are not going to be in any particular order, because I just have them in a box here and around me. Some are fully finished, some are just finished. So I'll just, as I find them, I'll just show you. One of my first finishes in the year was Byron Blackbird by the Artsy Housewife. I stitched this on 36 count, I think it was Winter Moon Edinburgh linen, not with the called for threads. I changed the black to Threadworks 11213, which is about my favorite black to use for animals. It is slightly variegated. It's not a complete black, and I just really love it. I hope you can see the change in color. I did, however, use the called for colors for the beak and eye. I think it's amazing how Gigi manages to make it look like a real live crow with just a few colors. I'm amazed at that. I changed the green and I changed these 2 colors, or maybe just the orangey one. The called for color was, for me, was a little too terracotta colored, and I wanted it to be more like a full piece. So I changed the green to something that fit I think this was Moss by Weeks Dye Works. And this, I honestly don't remember. I pretty much think I looked for a nice pumpkin orangey and just used that. This color is, I think on the chart, it's called Whiskey, which is like, or Schneckly, either one. It's like a golden yellow, and I just didn't want the leaves to be more green. Colby finished it. I still had this. This is like a flannel that I've had in my stash for years on end. And Kobe finished it with a nice little patch from a Halloween fabric. So that's Byron Blackbird. And to stay with the Artsy Housewife, I also finished Bedelia Bunny. And again, her face, her eyes, she does an amazing job on that. It just looks at you. I stitched this bunny with a sulky conversion on 36 count vintage country mocha linen, and I would have to look at the conversion. I honestly don't remember. I think I pulled the DMC colors and then looked at what I wanted to use in sulky. My main reason for using sulky is that the bunny is stitched in white, And silky just gives you perfect coverage on 36 count. And I knew that with any other thread, the coverage wouldn't be as good as the silky, and I really wanted that bunny to show up. Well, that's what happens when you record in the kitchen and there is a phone. It started ringing and I thought I'd better cut off the recording and start again. Anyway, as I was trying to explain, once I used the silky for the bunny, I really like to use the same kind of threads for the rest of the design. I'm not very good at mixing threads. So if I use silky, because the coverage is different from one strand of DMC, I like the rest of the design to be in silky as well. So that was Bedelia Bunny with a lovely florally background cushion. Then I stitched the Frisian pin pillow project or chart. I designed this myself. Maybe you know and maybe you don't. I started out designing way back in, I think like 2000, under the name of The Needle's Content. It's still, the business is still going on. Our stitching booklet is also published under my own name. And this was a design that I did for our stitching day in June of last year, when we had Gineke Arnolli here who used to work at the Frisian Museum, talk about Frisian samplers. The project for the day was a big drum, and I will show that later on in June sometime. The chart will be released to the general public, and then I'll show it to you. But this was one of my finishes. Kobe stitched the drum for me, and I stitched the little pin pillow. It's stitched on 36 count antique white linen with DMC. There you go. So that was that. Then I stitched, just checking my notes, Give More. This is a Berry by Erica Michaels designs, and I think they are released now. It was part of a club run by Dying to Stitch. I got the whole kit. It is stitched on, I think, French vanilla R&R fabric with a combination of the called for weeks dye works and some DMC. I think the cat was not, I'm pretty sure it was not a red cat or a ginger cat. So of course I had to change it to mimic Pookie. And now I've got all three of them stitched. One of them is finished, and the other two, I'll just ask Kobe nicely if she will finish it at some point. So that was another finish. Then I have Valentine Quaker by Primrose Cottage. This was stitched on, I think this was a 40 count antique white linen, and I stitched it with a mystery pink silk thread from Thread Gatherer from my stash. And this design really gave me the pits. I made so many mistakes in this. I had a frog, like, let's see, I had a frog here. I had to fudge this because I had taken it out, I think like 3 times, and I was so done with it that I just made my own part of it. So this is different from the chart, but it was a more involved stitch than I thought it would be. I really thought I would whip this up quickly, but it took way more time than I thought it would. Of course, it didn't help that I had to frog so many pieces. I had a frog over here as well. It was just one of those projects where you wonder if you'll ever finish it, but it's done now. I'm hoping to either put it in like a little square frame or to make it into a little pillow. That was another finish. Then one of the finishes quite a bit later in the year, let's see if I put this underneath, was Nettle by Stacy Nash. Here she is. Let me just start with Nettle. I stitched Nettle on a piece of, still on here, Winter Brew by R&R. It's 36 count. And I bought this at Dyeing the Stitch when I was there visiting the shop for the Blackbird retreat that I was lucky enough to attend. So she's all done. She is stitched pretty much with the called for colors. These animal crackers are so lovely to stitch. They are, they take quite a bit of time, but other than that, they're lovely to stitch. So Nettle comes with a little Halloween mask that I stitched as well. And then she has a little, well, on the chart, it's not so little. She has a little bag, a little handbag. However, I find it to be a bit too large compared to the animal cracker. So I stitched the pieces for the little bag over one. And I don't know if you can see it, but the pumpkin was really pretty tough going. I honestly do not like to stitch over one on 36 count. And filling it up I find it kind of hard to do. But I managed to get it done, and I'm hoping that we can turn it into a little handbag that has an opening at the top so I can put some, I'm going to look for some miniature candy. I think that would be just hilarious to put that in there as well. So that was Nettle. She was I think like an October, November finish. Like I said, I started her in Norfolk, and it took me a while to get everything done. Then I have a free graph that Gigi from the Artsy Housewife did for our Christmas catalog. And this is stitched on 36 count vintage country mocha, but I used the solid part of the fabric, and I used our Dinky Dice sample package that I talked about. I'll talk about that later on as well. I've used it for multiple projects and changed the colors to the silky, not to the silky, but to the Dinky Dice silk. So this is going to be, I think, like a little pillow ornament for the tree. Then, I always have to laugh when I see this. This is Bobbin, another animal cracker by Stacy Nash. And if you watch my videos, you know that when I finished her, I was doing a video and I was showing you this. This is a cookie cutter by Kathy Barrick. It's the cat. You can see I'm not done yet. But the funny part was I had lost Bobbin. I did not know where she was. And I had checked every box, every drawer, every project bag that I have stitching stuff in, and I could not find it. As it turned out, I had this folded like so, where Bobbin is on the inside. So no wonder I couldn't find it. But Bobbin returned like any good mouse does. And she's just waiting to be finished. Last year when I was in Nashville, when I think Bobbin was released by Stacy Nash, I picked up a lovely spool at Needlework Press that has some velveteen ribbon on it, and I think that'll be a lovely place for my Bobbin to sit and watch the world go by. So that was Bobbin. Then I stitched the Santa spool by Blue Bonnet Crafty Designs, and again I used this Dinky Dice silk for it, and I don't know if you can probably see it. I used Filane by Silky for his beard and his hair. It's a pity you can't feel how soft this feels. It's really, really soft, and I thought it was a nice touch. So I changed the colors to match my Dinky Dice silk package, and I think I only added a DMC for the cheeks, and there's like a tiny stitch of white in his eye that I did as well, and I put back stitching around the white because otherwise you couldn't really see it. So that was another finish. Then this was, I think, the first finish I did. I'm trying to find something. I should really get a board. This is Stitching in the Round by JBW Designs. This was another of my 53 by 53 projects, and I stitched it with a combination of Soie de Paris in 2 pink colors. I had those left over from the sample packages by Auvera Soie, which usually hold a Soie d'Alger skein, a Soie de Paris, Soie Ovale, or Soie Gobelin, and a metallic. And as I had these 2 spools left over, I thought, well, I better put them to use, and I stitched Stitching in the Round. It's a lovely piece. Again, there are also some mistakes in this one. I just, every now and then, these pieces look so deceptively easy to stitch. But if you make a mistake, it's kind of hard to fudge it. But it's done now, and it might go into a little hoop. Then I stitched Imprints, Fa La La, and Merry Christmas by Art in Hand Needle Art. And this is done with 2 colors of Sulky. And I really like these charts by Cecilia because they only use 2 colors, 3 colors max. And it's easy to convert it to something you have in your stash, and they're so much fun to stitch. And I changed out, don't know if you can really see it. Yeah, you can. This was supposed to be, I think, in red, and I used a metallic. I think I used the Petite Treasure Braid PB03 for the star there, and I also used it for the little metallic piece at the top of the ornament. Then, we just keep going. I stitched, this is the Friendship Sampler by The Good Huswife. It was a freebie from a very long time ago. I think it says on the chart, honestly, I think 1998 maybe. And it looked like it was drawn. It wasn't computer generated. I'm not 100% sure. I might have changed some of the colors, but I think I used most of the colors. It's not really a color palette that I would easily choose, but I really liked it. I changed the date to 1896. It had a different date on it that didn't mean anything to me, so I thought I might as well. I think something like 1998 or something like that, and I thought I just want to have it, like have an older date on it. And I changed this to a cat. And there are, let me count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is that correct? Yes, it is. My stitching friends. So those initials are done over 1. The chart comes with initials that, no, they're not done over 1. They're done over 2. It came with Kathy Barrick's initials as well as Anne's initial, as Kathy Barrick and her were pretty close in that time, and they did design under, I think they designed some stuff together as well. Anyways, doesn't matter. I really love this. I started this going to the Nashville market, and it was finished, I think, after the summer. And Kobe just did a wonderful job of making it into a little pillow that I can, stand up instead of going this way. Let me see. Then later in the year, I stitched and finished Christmas Mini Moon by Plum Street. Now, if you are a Plum Street lover, you know that she has several winter, like moon samplers. She has a winter moon sampler, a spring moon sampler. There's a summer moon sampler, I think. But those are really big ones. And honestly, I don't think I would ever get that finished. However, she also has a series of minis, and that's more my style. So I started working on this one, I think in May, and it took me till like October, I think, to finish it. And Kobe finished it for me in this beautiful little frame. I can either hang it, but it has a little easel thing here on the back so I can put it on a shelf, which is what I really would like. I stitched this with the cold 4 threads pretty much completely on a piece of pearl barley lakeside linen that I found in my stash. It's a 40 count, I think. So that's Winter Mini Moon. Then I started out with this one. This is Snip Snip by October House Fiber Arts. And I've stitched it with the called for colors on a piece of 38 count Graziano Avorio linen. And that's because I stitched Deck the Bells, and I think I stitched another one also on this fabric. So I like to have all of these long skinny pillows by October Fiber House on the same kind of fabric. So that's Snip Snip. I changed it to Knip Knip, which means snip snip in Dutch. And then I also stitched the pumpkin row. And there's like this fold line in the fabric. I'm really sorry about that, but I didn't have time to iron everything. So this is the pumpkin row. I can't really see what I'm doing. Hold on. That's better. This is pumpkin row with the call for pumpkin colors. And again, I changed the word to Dutch pum pum pum, as I thought it would be a nice little touch. So that's another skinny pillow in the makings. Then, while going to the US for my Blackbird retreat, I thought I would stitch something, you know, like easy on the eyes in the on the plane. And I choose the Honeybee Basket by Primrose Cottage. Here it is. Stitched with the called for colors on a piece of 25 count Lugana Antique White 2/2. So now that I am, let me see, because I have another one. Hold on. Because this is what it started. Earlier in the year, I had done the August 9 patch by Primrose, which is also a bee design, which uses pretty much the same kind of colors. And this was stitched on a piece of 40 count antique white linen 1/2 with the calls for DMC. And this is the piece of linen. If you've watched my videos before, you know I have a piece of 40 count antique white linen that got a cup of coffee dumped over it. So I'm still working my way through that piece of linen. And I've decided that I want to stitch more of these bee projects by Primrose, because I figured if I stitch them on like different counts, you can make a nice collection of little pillows, maybe some frame pieces, maybe an easel. I just really like it. So there's more bee projects by Primrose Cottage in the works for 2025. Okay, we're going back to the Blackbird weekend in Norfolk. This is Spell of the Moon by Blackbird. When I went over, I did the Honeybee Basket project on the plane because that was easy. And then while I was there, I thought, well, I'm attending a Blackbird retreat this weekend, so I really have to do a Blackbird piece. And this has been one that I've been wanting to stitch for a very long time. So I started this with the called for threads, and it's stitched on a piece of 36 count linen color in the color Platinum 1/2. And I'm going to finish this as a little Halloween pillow. Then we're going back in time. It feels like we're going like this, you know, back and forth, back and forth. This was a February finish. It's one of the Prairie Schooler Santas from, I don't know. Honestly, I should have checked that. Let me see, do I have it here? Oh, it's from the Kringle Santas. So the leaflet is called Kringle Santas, and this is one of them. It is stitched with the called for DMC, this is the called for DMC with 2/2 on my beloved 25 count wedding linen. I use that for pretty much all my Prairie Schoolers well, at least the Santas to stitch them on. And my idea is to add 2 more of these Kringle Santas right next to this one, and then either frame it or make it into a little pillow. So maybe 1 each year. That would be nice. Then in 2026 it should be finished. I have no idea. This would be typically a project that I would take with me on the plane to Nashville, as I'm not going there. I haven't started anything. I would have to look into it. And I do remember that the chart has like Santas with a red coat, a blue coat, and maybe a green coat. And I wasn't sure if I wanted to have Santas with all red coats or with like a red and a blue coat, and then a red coat or a red, blue, and green coat. And just making that decision sort of stopped me from starting another one of the Santas. So it's just laying here and we'll see what happens. Right. And getting to the end of the box. This is Naughty or Nice by Teresa Kogert. It is part of her Patreon, so you can't get it at this moment. But I stitched this with part of the called for colors. I did change the red for the coat, but I think and I didn't use black for the boots and the mittens. I used DMC 3799. I'm not too fond of black 310. I find it to be quite harsh at times, so I usually find a substitute for that. This is also stitched on my beloved 25 count linen, natural linen, and I think I already said it, this is done 2/2. This was also a lot of fun to stitch. Then I did another little ornament style with the Dinky Dice sample package. This is Quirky Quaker Ornament, I think, by Darling and Whimsy. As you can see, it only uses 3 colors. So I just picked the green, the white, and the red and stitched this on 40 count natural linen 1/2. These quirky little ornaments are a lot of fun to stitch. I've done the owl, I've done this one, and I thought I've done another one. They're intricate enough that they're not like, you know, it doesn't look like a child's drawing. And they are, you know, they have these little details in the snowflakes and around here with the trees and the snowflakes in the stocking. I just really love them. They take a bit more time than you might think. I don't know if that was because this was 40 count or because my head was just not really, completely focused. But it took me longer, I think, than I thought it was like a 2-night project. And maybe it is for some people. I don't know. It took me longer than that. And then I think this is my last finish. Apart from the finishes that are in the shop, I've put a little clip together of the finishes in the shop that are still hanging in the shop, and I'll attach this after this video. But this is Catherington by Needlework Press. This was a project that I stitched together with my Australian friend Bernadette, and we finished this, I think, at the very beginning, or at least I did at the very beginning of the year. Catherine, yeah. And I used 2 different 103 silks by Overa Soie on 38 count Avorio linen by Graziano. Unfortunately, the chart is no longer available from my distributor, and my chart has some coffee stains on it. If you look closely, you can also see that the fabric suffered some coffee stains. This was from a near collision with Pookie while I was carrying up my mug of coffee. Yeah, always a good idea, right? So that was my other finish. And no, these are not finishes from this year. These were all previous finishes. I'll save that for another video. I'll include my finishes that are still hanging in the shop now. So those were my finishes for 2024. I am very pleased with each and every one of them. I am especially pleased with my American homes. I am so happy that I finished it and that I can now get it framed and then put it on my wall and enjoy it every single day. For 2025, I don't have any fixed plans. I want to work on my 60 by 60 project, which means that around the 14th of each month, I start a new project. And if I continue to do that till my 60th birthday, I will have started 60 projects. Now, I'm pretty sure I won't have them all finished, but I try to mix larger projects. For me, larger projects, like medium projects and small projects, so that some can be finished within the month or maybe the month after that, and some can take a little bit longer. I have a few pieces of homework to do for the Swindon retreat in October of this year, and I have already started one as my January 60 by 60 project, and I will start another, I think maybe in April. I would like to get the other one done before I start the next one, and then I still have half a year to get it done. It's a pretty complicated, well, it's not complicated stitching, but it is involved stitching. I think that's the correct term. I've also made a whipco board that I will share with you in the next video to help me work through some of my older whips. I have finished one project from last year, and I've made really good progress on another project. So who knows, I might be able to finish that in March. And for the rest, I'm just, planning to enjoy my stitching time. I've started counting my stitches, which is interesting because I have to do it by hand. I don't use any kind of program for my stitching charts. So every night or the next day, I just manually count how many stitches I've done, which is kind of fun. I don't stitch a whole lot in the day. I usually stitch after 8 p.m. and then sometimes I'm too tired. Sometimes I just want to stitch for like maybe an hour. So having a 300-400 stitches per day is not feasible for me, but I do have some good days. It's just, like I said, it's interesting to count all these stitches and see what you do in a month. Anyways, I'm gonna let you go. This has been going on for quite a bit. I hope you enjoyed watching all my finishes. I hope that during the year I can surprise you with some fully finishes, and I hope to see you again soon. Have a great weekend and see you next time. Bye. So here in the back is a Very Merry Christmas by Heart in Hand Needle Art. I think, if I remember correctly, I stitched this during my summer vacation. That turned out to go a little bit different than what I thought it would be. But this was a fun stitch. It is quick, it is sweet, it doesn't have a whole bunch of colors, and it was a lot of fun to stitch. And then I'll just move around the camera slowly to, I think this is Tree Spool by Blue Bonnet Crafty Designs. I'm not 100% sure about the name, but I think it's Tree Spool. I stitched this on 40 count natural linen by Zweigart with a combination of Dinky Dye's silk threads. I did a conversion myself. We have a sample package of half skeins of 8 different colors of Dinky Dyes, and I used that sample package very well. I think I stitched about 4 or 5 different projects with it, and I still have threads left, so I'm looking for new projects that I can stitch with it. It was such a fun stitch. It's pretty quick to do. I think it says tree. I think that's why I'm a little confused. It says tree in the spool instead of Noel, so I just changed the lettering to Noel instead of tree. So part of my finishes in 2024 are still displayed in the shop. And since we haven't taken all Christmas and snowmen down, I thought I would just film them right here in the shop. If you can hear Pookie meowing in the back, I'm sorry, but he's always very opposed to me being in another room than where he is, and he is not supposed to be in the shop. So the first one I wanted to share with you is a gift for thee from the Scarlet House. It is stitched on a piece of 36 count linen that I coffee dyed myself. I think I started out with flax, so number 52 by Zweigart, and just dumped it into a coffee bath and then stitched on it with pretty much the called for colors. And the one thing I did is I switched out the lady. She was walking away from the house, and call me crazy, but I have a thing against that, so I flipped her around and now she's walking towards the house, which I think makes more sense, but that's just a personal matter. Kobe turned this into a sweet little pillow for me, and I'm very happy. This was one of my Projects 53 projects, and I'm very pleased that this one is now finished as well. And here I'm back with a slight update on my 2024 finishes. When I started to put together the video, I realized that I had forgotten two finishes that are fully finished and were in the shop, and I didn't film them. So the first one is Sampler of the Sea by Carriage House Samplings, and I'll insert a photo here. It was stitched on a mystery piece of Tabby Cat linen, 36 count, stitched 1/2. And I used the called for colors. It's actually kind of funny because I'm not really much of a sea person. I prefer the forest and the woods and trees and not sand and sea. But this one really spoke to me, and I had a lot of fun stitching it. I really hope that she'll do more of these. I think there's plenty of other samplers off that she could design, but we'll wait and see. And then, of course, I completely forgot to show you Evergreen by the Prairie Schooler. This was stitched with the called for colors on a 25 count natural linen, 2/2. And this was the piece where every month I did one block, and I asked my Facebook and Instagram subscribers which block I should stitch next. I do know that the scroll in the bottom gave me so much trouble. I was off at some point and had to rip out a whole bunch of stitches. And yeah, that's always not a whole lot of fun, but I'm very happy with how this turned out. And I'm actually looking forward to start another Prairie Schooler piece, maybe a kind of Halloween one that also, she has several that have this kind of structure with different blocks. So maybe I'll do that, or I could go back to doing another Christmas one, because Prairie Schooler and Christmas is always a good choice. Anyway, those were my finishes. Now they're complete. I don't think I've forgotten another one. I hope you have a great day. Thank you for watching this. If you haven't subscribed, please do so and like the video. That always helps to show up the videos in your feed. And I hope you have a great time. Enjoy your stitching. No frogging allowed. And I'll see you next time with my 2025 stitching so far. Bye.